I don't know that she would have survived male puberty.
All they do is make these extreme scenarios where if you do not support me, people will die. That is radicalization, and it pisses me off, dude. You do not support unequivocally what I'm doing, but also the movement that I'm playing a role in, that you are killing people. I'm sick of hearing people talk like this. It is evil, it is radical, it is wrong, and it is disgusting. As you guys know, Pride Month kicked off yesterday, and we're celebrating by watching why the LGBT movement is failing by Think Before You Sleep. It's worth getting into.
Some carry hate. We carry the largest trans pride flag to ever be flown in a national park and unfurled it on the side of El Cap to prove a point.
And this is awesome. This is great. This is awesome. And people like seeing this flag. People love looking at this. They love it.
Trans is...
That's why more and more companies every single year during Pride Month are opting not to change their profile picture to something of this color scheme, right? Because it's definitely worked. It's definitely good marketing. No, I'm being fully sarcastic. Every single company year over year since the peak, the usage of coloring related to Pride stuff during Pride Month has gone down because they know it's obnoxious. They know that it is pretentious, and they know the association with it is something that they just don't want. They know it turns people off. It's just a losing strategy. And I hate to say this phrase because I feel like it's been done to death. But guys, go woke, go broke. It's proven real. It literally is proven real.
Is natural.
Please, tell me what's natural about having to wear a wig and tons of eye makeup to try and get people to treat you like a woman.
The Trump administration and transphobes would love to have you believe that being trans is unnatural, but species that can transition sexes can be found on every continent and in every ocean on planet Earth.
That had to be the most disingenuous analogy that I've ever heard. Show me a human male that's become female spontaneously without spending like $100,000 in the operating room.
I also feel like the argument where you can say, well, this species does this, and we're also a species, and so when we do this thing that they do, it's fine. Okay, a lot of species cannibalize. Is it cool that we do that? A lot of species are retarded. If we're retarded, is that fine? It doesn't really make sense, you know? I feel like the analogy there is stupid. It's also like, why would you compare humans to non-humans? Ever. Like, isn't that like literally apples to oranges?
Well, even the surgeries don't change their biology, and just because certain animals can do things doesn't mean that humans can do those things. Some animals aren't sexually dimorphic, and the females are just as strong as the males. That's not humans, though. There are a lot of differences between the sexes. I mean, I don't think I've seen an analogy this bad since the croissant analogy.
If trans women aren't women, then is this big croissant not a croissant? Of course it's a croissant. It's made out of butter and dough just like any other croissant.
Right, a big croissant and a small croissant are still both croissants.
It's also funny because in this analogy, the big croissant is also a minor attracted person. Sorry, minor attracted croissant. In this analogy, this big croissant has like a 45% chance more likely to be attracted to this little croissant.
Any other croissant.
Right, a big croissant and a small croissant are still
Awkward.
both croissants. Except that's not what's happening here. You're not a big croissant saying that you're a small one. You're a taco saying, I identify as a pastry.
So before I demolish this delicious and very valid pastry, repeat after me. Big croissants don't affect me in the slightest.
Yeah, that's not the case. In fact, that's exactly everyone's problem and why people have so much energy against trans activism. We were all just out here minding our own business, and then a bunch of activists started inserting themselves into everything and saying, you have to treat us how we demand you treat us, or you lose your job. This sort of extortionist behavior is why people are mad at the LGBT crowd.
I'm actually non-binary and use they them pronouns. I definitely could see that. In the best way possible,
Bro, what am I... How does one achieve this? This is the female version, being 30 years old, and your entire room is filled to the brim with Funko Pops. AliExpress rubs their hands in joy when they see someone like this, because they know you are going to use their website to buy Pokemon plushes with child labor, and that's something that brings them great delight. Oh yes, please, buy more products. We love you.
non-binary and use they them
Like, bro.
pronouns. I definitely could see that. In the best way possible, you look like you'd be non-binary. Slay, they. You realize that isn't a compliment, right?
I guarantee you that when people say that, 99% of the time it's not meant to be a compliment. And that's because as soon as you see the wacky hair color and the nose ring, oh wait, this person actually doesn't have a nose ring. Shocking. But when regular people see the wacky outfits, they know they're about to deal with a very difficult or annoying person. Or a narcissist. I mean, there are just so many examples of people with narcissistic personality disorder being gassed up by every major corporation for identifying as LGBT. And everyone hates stuff like this. From Today USA, women want to be her, men want to be with her.
Yeah. there? No, Today USA, wrong. Women want to be with her. Wait, no, sorry. Women want to be her, men want to be with her. Dylan Mulvaney, the true definition of beauty and grace. This is just like, we gotta be rage baiting, right? Like, we're rage baiting, correct? Like, this is a joke. This image is slightly unnerving. What is that build? What the hell is that build? Yeah, I mean, it's like Machamp. You know Machamp? You guys ever heard of the Machamp? Because we just saw a person who's obsessed with Pokemon. I thought I'd bring that in here. Machamp, Pokemon, you can look it up. I would say that build is sort of comparable to this. And if you misgender him, you're gonna get choked.
Dylan Mulvaney, the true definition of beauty and grace. Bro, Dylan Mulvaney doesn't even want to be Dylan Mulvaney. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. Now, I'm sure there are plenty of trans people out there who just want to mind their own business and go on with their lives. In fact, the right to be able to mind their own business was originally what the LGBT movement was pushing for. And I think that's an idea that most Americans these days would have no problem supporting. However, the activists, not the normie LGBT people, I'm specifically talking about the activist part of this community, constantly
it's actually flipped, like it's completely gone the opposite of what it originally was. Originally it was, we want to be left alone, please don't hurt us for being gay or trans. And now it's literally, give us the right to hurt you because we're trans. It has gone full fucking circle. It is not, we want to be left alone. It's now you are going to let us not leave you alone. That is insane to me. It is insane. The fact people want to argue that the slippery slope fallacy is that it's a fallacy, that by allowing one thing, you won't allow all these other things. But look what happened, you know? I'm not gonna say that, you know, you shouldn't leave LGBT people and gay people alone. You should, right? Let people do what they want to do, mind their own business. You stay in your lane, they stay in theirs, it's fine. But then it's like, they're not only going into your lane, they're demanding to be in your lane and overstaying their welcome and making rules for your own lane. Hey, motherfucker, you just got here. I thought we had a deal that you stay on your side, I stay on my side, and we're chilling, all right? I'm not gonna go to your side and start any commotion, but now you're going to my side, and it's seeming like you're starting some commotion. I'm confused. I'm really confused. Sounds like we got fucking swindled. We got swindled.
Display the most self-centered and entitled behavior. And it's not transphobic or bigoted to point out when someone's being a self-absorbed asshole. Let's go back to that image.
Another thing is they can weaponize their identity to get away with doing things that most people could never. And it's frustrating that by calling out bad behavior from a trans person, the fact that they're trans is the elephant in the room. And I hate that sometimes. I hate that if someone is like, let's just say someone scammed you for $200,000 or $500,000, right? Some trans person did a crypto rug pull. You shit on that rug pull because it's a bad action. And then it's just like instantly the fact that they're trans is part of the discussion. Why? I hate that shit so much.
Women want to be her. Yeah, except for all the women who were pissed off at Dylan's woman face behavior. In fact, people were so mad at Dylan that Anheuser-Busch almost had to give up the Bud Light brand.
Chad, am I too loud compared to the video, by the way?
Men want to be with her. No, they don't. Straight men don't. The second they find out you're trans, you're gonna get ghosted.
This video is for straight men and straight men only. I'm sorry, but how?
Also, what woman would want to be Dylan? That one confuses me all the way. I don't get that one bit. Women want to be her. I don't know about that one, bruh.
In the world, could you not like me? Yes, I'm a trans woman, I'm a doll. Like, what is so different about dating me than a cis woman? I can do everything.
Pregnancy, pussy, genetics, chromosomes, hormones, shoulder width, hip ratio, waist, grip strength, bone density, average foot size, average height, bone structure, facial hair. Yeah.
Except have children. Did you notice the narcissistic, I'm so great behavior? That's why people don't like you. The guy I was on a date with just found out that I was trans. Why is he just finding out on the date? Why wasn't this disclosed on the dating app? I mean, they were definitely using a dating app where photos can be edited and the voice chat wasn't used. Why is it so hard to date straight men when you're just a normal trans?
Bro, this sucks because, like, this looks like the singer from Pierce the Veil. Yeah, I know, I just ruined a few mornings, sorry.
Trans girl who makes content for the internet. Well, there you go. Stop catfishing people and maybe you'll find someone who actually likes you. I mean, it's crazy how many trans people think it's perfectly fine to start a relationship out by lying by omission.
What are you even really disclosing? What is there to disclose? There's no deception. When you're dating someone, you don't have to disclose every single thing about yourself up front. That's the fun of it. You get to learn about someone new.
Considering that the status of your sexuality is a big deal for...
I'm gonna say it again. I've said this so many times, bro. This argument, the fun of dating is not knowing what you're gonna get. That's the fun of CSGO case openings, bro. Lily Tino jump scare, yeah, you know, he made an appearance, bro.
That you get to learn about someone new.
Considering that the status of your sexuality is a big deal for a relationship, that definitely should be disclosed before you even go on a date. Though in this case, I actually wouldn't worry because I don't think anyone's being fooled by you.
He shows off his results of facial feminization surgery. What is? You know who it is? Spell it out. Acheeto. That's Acheeto right there, my boy. Woo! Shout out. And just because it's up,
Completely be defeated.
I got something to show y'all. We made the cut. And it's brilliant. Asmongold watched the Think Before You Sleep video, and we made it. He shows off his results of facial feminization surgery. What is your reaction? Again, just reading the tweets. Don't get mad at me. Let's take a look at this. Shout out Asmongold. Bro, I'm gonna keep it a bug. You gotta go back and ask for a refund. Like, this was not a complete job. I am. This is just incomplete homework.
Though, to be honest,
I warranted a soda sip. He didn't say anything about it, but hey, shout out to Asmongold, bro. What is your reaction? Again, just reading the tweets. Don't get mad at me. Let's take a look at this. Bro, I'm gonna keep it a bug. You gotta go back and ask for a refund. Like, this was not a complete job. This is just incomplete homework.
Though, to be honest, some trans people are more feminine than others, and it's harder for normies to tell. So in the case where someone is intentionally tricked and any form of sexual contact happens that they would otherwise not consent to, I think that should be considered sexual assault. These people are all about consent, right? Well, you can't consent if you don't understand the terms of the deal, and if you're trying to trick someone into consenting to something they otherwise would not consent to if they had full knowledge of the terms.
What do they call it when you agree to something that you didn't agree to? What is that called? It's either fraud or a scam. And I think those two words in the context of a deal are bad, but if it's a sexual deal, it almost sounds like rape.
Then that is very much the mentality of a rapist. You aren't fooling anyone. Everyone knows that you aren't disclosing this information right away for a reason. And really, the best way to continue to take power away from these people so they can't threaten us anymore is to just start calling stuff what it is. All the bullying that trans activists have been doing can completely be defeated if we just stick to reality. Which brings us to a trans TikTok influencer who goes by Lily Tino. Well, this person has already been brought up, but now I have a bigger point to make. If you haven't seen any of the content, this type of stuff is what—
Rewatched? Brother, what else do you think is going to be said there? What else do you say?
Tino is famous for.
Coconut bread from Thailand.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am, sorry, my bad. And the middle
Bro.
one is from
We smoking on your dead homies tonight. Smoking on that Nick Tino.
India.
Thank you. It just totally sucks the joy out of this bread tower. Makes me want to immediately leave. Because I no longer feel safe here. It's oh, my guard now has to be up. I'm not going to enjoy this bread as much because my guard is up. We should be able to go places and—
Logical education equals pre-watch.
I don't think I really want
true.
this bread tower.
Yo, shut the fuck up. We heard you before.
Multiple times, so let's do a quick repeat.
Coconut bread from Thailand.
Yo, bro, we're done with that.
We'll make this mistake, which is why tons of misgendering videos are on Tino's channel.
I just want to tell you that the person who gave me this called me sir.
What?
Called me sir.
Oh.
It's just it kind of just hurts a lot to get
It
called
hurts.
sir.
My back.
Thank you.
Oh, my back. It
I'm not, sir.
hurts.
Nothing
My
like
gender.
good misgendering.
That's
It
how you
does.
sound.
It is a knife in the gut when
It's
I
a
get
knife in the
called
gut.
sir.
Yeah, it's a
It
knife
hurts
in the gut.
more, though, and it's not intentional because it means
All right, then grab an Estes flask, my boy. Literally grab an Estes flask. D-pad, down button, square. Square on the controller, Estes flask.
this is sir to him.
Yeah, it's such a knife to the gut that you keep intentionally putting yourself in these situations and film them happening over and over again. Even with the feigned politeness, everyone
Feels like a kick in the balls. That's what he should have said.
knows that you're doing this on purpose. And not just that, but Tino has openly talked about not actually caring about being called sir.
Look, I don't need your approval to love my face. But honestly, keep these comments coming because they really don't bother me in the way that you think they bother me, and they boost engagement on my stuff, so keep at it.
A bunch of people saying sir in the comments is what's being responded to. So now we know that Tino bullying people is completely about getting attention. But let's go back to that bread video for a second.
We're supposed to say friend or just not use gendered language. It's a pretty big thing that Disney has done. Nothing was wrong with bread. I just don't want it anymore. Just because they apologize doesn't mean she doesn't feel sad.
The bread was transphobic. And in case you guys didn't know, that's a common thing. When the bread is transphobic, you gotta send it back. You gotta send it back, and you gotta threaten your Croatian waiter. Oh, the citizenship. Use his status as someone with an accent, as a foreigner, over his head. Leverage that because it's your way or no way.
Yeah. Exactly, right? Like, if you've accidentally ever hurt someone and say, I'm so sorry, it was an accident, do you expect them to be like, oh, it was an accident? Of course, no problem whatsoever. All of that hurt is now undone. That's not how it works.
Sorry about what happened.
It's okay. I would love to pay for the drink, please.
No, the drink is on me too, so...
You don't have, are you sure?
You're good, yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Now you can see why Tino does this. Any narcissist would treat waiters like that if they got free food and special treatment from it. You do understand they had to throw all that food out, right? However, I don't know if you guys caught this, but the waiter had an accent, meaning that English is not his first language, so he probably is not all that privy to the pronoun BS because it's esoteric speech. I mean, if there's any indication that he doesn't understand what's going on, it's that he immediately says sir again after being told to say ma'am. And the whole subtext of this is that this guy spends all this time learning English, and then Tino is out here threatening his livelihood over a minor mistake. That's why you got the free drink. It's because he's afraid of a sociopath like you causing a scene and getting him fired.
True.
Especially considering that this occurred at Disneyland. So you know that if the waiter stands up for himself, the company is not going to back.
And it's so funny because at Disneyland, unironically, Lily Tino is like a whale. Lily Tino is their win condition. Lily Tino is the way that the whole Disney staff eats that weekend, right? Because you know he going to every restaurant and ordering all the corn dogs. Lily Tino inbound, refill the corn dogs. If they know that Lily Tino is coming in for the weekend, they gotta rack up on all the corn dogs. He's literally their win condition, and so they gotta be extra nice to him. They gotta be nice to him because they know that he's hitting every restaurant in Epcot and he's trying all the corn dogs. Every corn dog is getting the gok, is getting split down the middle, okay? And frankly, if I worked at Disney, you know, I wouldn't say sorry. And I would say, if you got a problem, then you can get out of my store. You can get out of my restaurant. Can I speak to a manager? No, you can speak to these nuts. You can speak to my balls. Hey, Lily, do you know Dango? Talk to my coworker, Dango. Who's Dango? Dangle my balls on your face. What? Why would you say that? Yo, Lily Tino, I just realized that Whataburger is the only fast food restaurant that begins with W. What? No. There's Wendy's. Wendy's nuts fit on your chin, Nick Tino. Hey. Hold up. I gotta do it to him.
Right foot creep, walking with that. Look around, stay.
I get sturdy on your block, fuck boy. What you gonna do about it? Get the fuck off me.
Back him. So really this person is just making money off of bullying foreigners and using transgenderism.
That is literally xenophobic, by the way. This is something that someone who hates immigrants does. That is the craziest thing I've ever seen. You're hard, OMG, I saw it. That's just, what the fuck is that message, bro? On God, you're banned for life. And so, yeah, if you're xenophobic and you hate people from other countries, just be trans and then, that message is fucking with me, and farm them because they're foreigner and get mad at them for not knowing English.
As a shield after being abusive, because that's what this is. It's abuse. And abuse seems to be kind of a foundational strategy of trans activists. Tino has a lot of this type of content, as well as stuff that progressively gets creepier.
Made it into Disney World. I don't really know what the deal is with bathrooms. You know, Florida is really conservative. I don't know what the rules are. Trans women are allowed to be in women's bathrooms, but I'm about to go and use the bathroom because I have to tinkle. If I get stopped, I guess. But I'm a woman, so I'm going to use the women's bathroom, and being in Florida or being in California or wherever isn't going to stop me.
For one, it's already cringe to be a Disney adult.
This is a classic.
Two, not only is there this fetishizing with trans people of lying about their status in the hopes of tricking straight men, but there's also a fetishizing of using women's bathrooms. Here's a whole office of biological males filming in the women's bathroom. And I can't imagine how unnerving it must be for women to have to share this space with people who are obviously biological men.
Oh, I go where I please. I will continue.
Dude, I love this guy. Dude, this is my goat here on God.
You need to go into women's restrooms.
And Lois, I'm trans.
Women's locker rooms, women's spaces, because I am a woman, whether you like it or not. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, there is something that the government can do and say no, and then take your womanhood away legally, so,
Go where I please. And so far, nobody's had the guts to even try and stop me.
Because you're against women. You think women are going to stick up to you? Like, I mean, the idea that someone is going to try to brawl you, I mean, you're like 400 pounds of pure mass. You understand that you pose a lethal threat to most women. You're asking for someone with no gear to fight a Dark Souls boss. It ain't happening. No amount of Estus flasks will help you during that.
No one has tried to stop you because it's a bunch of women who have like half your strength, and they don't want to risk you being a psycho who will violently beat them if they speak up about you using the women's bathroom.
You're gonna give me my fucking money back.
Excuse me, sir. There's a young man in here. And you're
Excuse me.
This is literally, if you don't think this is a classic, then don't associate with me. This is a classic.
It's ma'am. It is ma'am.
They aren't protesting because they're afraid. And what really should happen is that people should just stop going to places with mixed bathrooms. Oh, and speaking of borderline predator...
Yeah, that's cool, by the way. If you don't think that that's cool and a mic drop moment, then, again, I don't want to associate with you. Elite ball knowledge? It is. This is ball knowledge. That clip is ball knowledge. It is literally a hood classic. If you did not watch that maybe 5 years ago, then, I mean, we are just not in the same timeline, I feel like.
Is that people should just stop... loves to go
that
to
was
Disneyland
like that was a cultural
how
benchmark.
Transgender surgery works, with kids in the background and child-friendly metaphors.
This and then the Gayborhood. One in chat if you've seen the Gayborhood. The Gayborhood is also a cultural benchmark. Yup. Yeah, you guys seen it.
Last summer, I got my cake pops removed, and the plan up until recently was to get my marshmallow wand reconfigured into a marshmallow tunnel. The outside of the wand is what becomes the inside of the tunnel.
This person needs to be put on a watch list. I think no one would be shocked if there are some skeletons in Tino's closet. These topics aren't appropriate for young kids.
Hi friends! Today we're going to talk about something super important. What it means to be transgender. It's a big word, but I promise that it's easy to understand. Ready to learn? The first thing I want you to do is close your eyes. Now think, do you feel like a boy, a girl, or a little bit of both?
For those of you who don't know what's going on, this is a parody of Miss Rachel, who is a very popular creator for very young kids. A friend of mine has a 2-year-old, and I caught an episode while he was visiting where she was teaching toddlers how to say no, so that was great. Well, maybe it's annoying to parents, but probably very useful if they ever meet someone like Lily Tino. And I'm not just making allegations here. Tino literally has an OnlyFans account and advertises that account in the same area where the videos targeted at children can be viewed. How is this not a crime? Can you see why people are mad now?
I think when you have something in direct vicinity to adult content that is children's content, you are essentially peddling the children to that content. If the children are interested in your content and they want to see more and they see the link, like let's just say maybe they're like 7 years old and they're on TikTok, you're fucked. Like you are literally getting them to go to your adult content, and that should be a crime. Or I think at the very least TikTok should put it against their terms of service. If what you're doing is children's content, then it should be made absolutely unacceptable to have that redirect, because you're taking them from a place that they are because they're 5 or 7 to a place that they should not be because they're 5 or 7. It's that simple.
Now, stuff like this happens over and over again, and this information gets pushed on younger and younger people way before it's age appropriate, and now they have stuff like this.
Applications are...
Before we watch this mind-numbing stuff that's going to make you want to call a hotline, take a moment to really take in the beautiful scenery of this video. Think Before You Sleep does not opt for CSGO surf gameplay. He opts for stock photos. And in this one particular, you can really just see how vast the world is. Like, we really have so much out here, and the world is beautiful and vast. And then you look and then bro, we made Wi-Fi from this, right? We made Wi-Fi out of this, and then we got this. Nice.
Open for Brave Trails 2025. Whether you're new or returning, get ready for an unforgettable summer in California, New York, or Georgia. Brave Trails is the summer camp for LGBTQ+ youth ages 12 to 17, with creative programming, gender-neutral housing, and affirming spaces to be your true self.
Wait, so you're gonna put a bunch of boys and girls with cameras and mixed housing? They're going to change and sleep in the same area with an age difference from 12 to 17? You don't see a problem with that? Unfortunately, I don't think they do. And what's funny is that I'm old enough to remember that back in 2020, I made a video about them medically transitioning kids, and I got gaslit like crazy with a bunch of wokies in the comments saying, no, they're just socially transitioning kids. They don't get medical treatment until they're adults. At that point, there were only a handful of news stories about people
So I've even seen a clip of Dr. Mike where he has a doctor on his show who's one of these like gender affirming doctors. And he asked, what are some of the procedures that actually get done for like trans children? And this person basically said that it's very rare that they cut like a dick off of a child and stuff. But in some cases, or some rare cases, the worst thing they'll do is what he said. The worst thing he said that they'll do, and keep in mind, this is someone who supports that stuff. She'll obviously only admit stuff that is optical for his cause. He said they will cut off tits. Yeah, you saw that? Yeah, I saw that clip too. He said that they remove breast tissue from women, which is still mutilation. And so what he was willing to admit is still mutilation, right? And so, yeah, absolutely, they do medically transition.
Medically transitioning under 18, but just 5 years later, medically transitioning kids has been completely normalized.
Estrogen treatment is irreversible and would...
And the thing is, I feel like it's either it's happening and it's good or it's not happening. That's one of the arguments they just pick. They either pick it's happening and it's good or it's just not happening. So they'll either deny that it exists or admit that it exists and say that it's good. It's one or the other. You ever notice that? You ever notice that they will never admit that it exists and is bad? The only time they'll admit that it's happening is when they say that it's good. Otherwise, it doesn't happen. It's so weird. Fuck, that's like there's a word for that or something. I forget what it is, but there was at one point where I looked this up because it was like a type of argumentation where people will only admit that the thing that they are, yeah, anyway, you get where I'm going.
Make Josie sterile. But
cherry picking? Maybe.
Josie and her mother never doubted it was the right thing until an unexpected conversation happened one afternoon.
But on the inside, where nobody else can see?
Yeah.
Are you a boy or are you a girl?
Maybe I'm a boy inside and a girl outside.
Really?
Yeah, is that true?
Only you know the answer to that.
Sometimes I think I'm a boy, sort of, but I'm gonna be a girl.
Yeah.
Dr. Olson had a decision.
You are in the perfect place to start on blockers.
And she promises to begin giving her estrogen, female hormones, in 2 years.
That's crazy.
Around 13. That's what I think. You're not going to wait until 16 to start. You know that, okay?
A lot of times it strikes me
Damn.
that had this happened just 20 years ago,
Thank you.
I wouldn't have been able to give her blockers and she would have had to go through male puberty. That terrifies me. It's all done. Do you want to...
Is there a father in this household? I've noticed there's no father figure to step in and veto this decision. Interesting.
I don't know that she would have survived male puberty.
The fuck, bro, like, shut the fuck up. No, stop. Stop with these histrionics. These fucking histrionics. That's all they do. All they do is make these extreme scenarios where if you do not support me, people will die. That is radicalization, and it fucking pisses me off, dude. Literally, if you do not agree with me, if you do not support unequivocally what I'm doing, but also the movement that I'm playing a role in, that you are killing people. I'm so fucking sick of hearing people talk like this because it is evil, it is radical, it is wrong, and it is disgusting. It is absolutely fucking disgusting. I'm so sick of hearing that.
I'm not really sure how these people have it in their head that it's okay to allow a young child to make a permanent decision like that. Especially
even if the father is there, the mother often threatens to take away the child, so he is forced into allowing the mutilation. Maybe, yeah.
Considering that the child expressed pretty heavy doubt, and maybe that's the best cue to not put your kid on life-altering medications when they turn 13.
Seems more like we're experimenting on children like the Nazis did, though.
It does seem a little suspect. I agree.
I mean, imagine if the Nazi scientist came forward and said, but the kids really want it.
The one thing that keeps me happy is that we're moving closer to a place where eventually people who do this are going to start getting punished for it, especially since Twitter got bought and stories like these aren't being suppressed anymore.
I had facial feminization surgery. I had sex reassignment surgery. I was on HRT for 17 years. Now I'm on a combo dose because I can't go off. I have multiple health conditions from transitioning young and for transitioning for so long.
This person has to take medication permanently despite regretting the transition because of the damage that transitioning caused. And it's sick because...
And they just want them to act like guinea pigs. If you are a guinea pig, you are a beautiful unit of scientific research to these facilities. You basically have sold your soul to science research. You are going to be experimented on. You are going to be a vessel for dosage and chemicals, and you will be studied, and you will be a result. Your life does not matter to these people. Your livelihood doesn't really matter. Everything you feel is a symptom. Everything that you express about your life is going to result in a change of a dosage or is going to be responded to with like writing that down on a notepad. It's not going to be heard from a human perspective. It's just more like, oh, patient says blah, blah, blah. And it's literally just an excuse for human experiments.
The activist community loves to pretend that none of these drugs like hormone blockers have any side effects.
So what was it for you that kind of woke you up to this isn't what I should have done?
I found out that homosexual transition was environmentally caused in almost every single case by childhood sexual assault or by internalized homophobia or failed boy syndrome. People are being lied to when they're being diagnosed. They're not being diagnosed with what actually causes the gender dysphoria. They're just being diagnosed with a symptom of a problem. And there are multiple problems that cause those symptoms. And when you don't appropriately diagnose people, you lead them into
This is what real bravery looks like, by the way. Getting up and explaining that you are a victim of this is actually fucking brave. This is courageous to tell the world in a universe of people telling you that this is okay and should be accepted widely, that this is actually dangerous. And this is actually courageous. Honestly.
Life of ruin. All of these interventions are permanent, they're irreversible, and they lied to me.
I don't know if the numbers are that high, but sexual abuse history sure is commonly reported amongst people who transition, as well as symptoms of it like drug abuse and homelessness. Now, the age-old thing that the activists like to say is that you could end the life of a trans person by misgendering them. However, if you look at the studies that they cite, the people in the high-risk categories are very often drug abusers or homeless, and HRT is not going to fix that.
And they don't care about the people who are indoctrinated, who are harmed by this loosey-goosey system where you can walk into a therapist in 15 minutes and be given a gender dysphoria diagnosis.
Right. They don't care at all. I think when Lily Tino makes...
And I get that off my screen. And this exists and has existed in all areas of medical practice. Like, if you look at people who are not experiencing gender dysphoria, who want to be prescribed something, you can just say certain things to get the diagnosis, to get the medication for the diagnosis. It's absolutely a thing. Pill mills exist. If you say that you have insomnia, you can get diagnosed with it pretty easily and then get Xanax if you're a bartard. Like, it's not hard to get drugs. It isn't. Legally, to get prescribed things that people can get hooked on, not that hard. Look at the opioid crisis. You literally had doctors who were making millions of dollars getting people hooked on painkillers. That was a real thing. And if you look at this now, they're making millions of dollars doing the same thing. The rates of identification of this stuff are up a lot.
A gender dysphoria diagnosis.
Right.
And look, I'm not saying that these doctors need the money. Like, they don't need to be doing this, but it has opened up a special area of medical studies that didn't previously exist, like studying gender dysphoria and stuff like that.
Don't care at all. I think when Lily Tino makes a video dressed as Miss Rachel, that's not about educating people. It's about trying to find...
Acheeto, can you tell me when to open and close my eyes? I'm trying to goon, but I just keep getting interrupted by Lily Pedo. Okay, if you're trying to goon, then I would recommend you exit the stream, okay? Low-key, I can't assist you with that. I feel like ChatGPT is saying, sorry, I can't assist you with that.
Next viral trend to build popularity and promote the OnlyFans account. I think these people rarely, if ever, talk about people who regret transitioning. In fact, I've heard rumors that on Reddit, such people are shunned from the transgender forums. But the nefarious part with kids is that kids are easily manipulated, will often do what they think will impress their parents, and they have no life experience. They've only been around for a few years, so how are they supposed to know at 11 what their desires are going to be at 30 or 40 or 50? Where are the adults? Adults are supposed to be around as advisors to prevent kids from doing stuff they might regret in the long term. In fact, as a society, I think it's people's responsibility to prevent those around them from making stupid decisions. A lot of people's dumb choices could be stopped if they didn't have a shitty friend group. You want people in your life who will sit you down and talk you through major decisions and give you corrective feedback. People need the feedback of others to know how to behave appropriately.
I might get hate for this, and I am not a doctor. This is not a medical take from a professional, trust me. But I've never understood why, if a guy thinks that he is a girl and wants to get girl chemicals, that you wouldn't just give him the guy chemicals to make him feel like a guy because he's a guy. Feel me on that one?
Something that I'm sure these narcissistic activists are missing in their lives. So let's do them all the favor of not appeasing their BS. Anyway, thanks for watching. Follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you in the next video.
Shout out. Yes, sir. That's TBYS for you. That's the boy right there. Shout out to Think Before You Sleep. That's GOAT. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think he was spitting facts. That's actually a good point. Well, I'm not a genius, obviously. I'm not someone who knows much about anything, but I feel like, yeah, I mean, like, if I thought I was a girl and I felt like very feminine, wouldn't I just want to emasculate myself because I'm a guy? Because that's wrong. I don't know. 10 out of 10 video.